Hi, this is Heidi Jeseritz. We're going to film the lab on proper hand washing technique. And before I get started, a little disclaimer, I had surgery on my hand about a week and a half ago, just got my stitches out, so hooray, I'm authorized to wash my hands now, but I need to go very slowly, and so this might actually be interesting to see how many germs get caught on where my scar is, but we'll see. So first of all, what we've got here set up is the glow germ kit for hand washing. We have the beaker of water, we have a brush for cleaning hands later on, and then 3 test tube racks, and they're all duly labeled. This one is a no wash, a quick wash, and finally a good hand wash. So the first thing that I'm going to do is put on my PPE, and the goggles and lab coat or apron are recommended, and then I'm going to apply an amount of glow germ solution to my hands. This is a little tricky because I can't squeeze with that hand yet. There we go. That's what I want. So I had a little bit of liquid run off of it. I'm going to dump that in the sink, so now my sink's nice and contaminated. And I am spreading the cream all over my hands. Now, the idea is to use some typical lab implements and see what would happen with the extent of the contamination if I didn't wash my hands. So I've got my pipette, and I'm going to take a couple milliliters of water here and fill my first test tube. And there we go with that. Now, to make it more interesting, on this second one, I'm going to actually pick up my test tube. It'll come out of the rack. Oh, and it doesn't, not with slippery hands. So we'll just see all that contamination in here in a little bit. There's 1, and there's 2, and there's 3. So that's kind of a simulated lab experiment. Now what we're going to do is turn off the lights so that we can check with our black light and see where all those germs went. All right, well now I do have my little black light and I'm holding it with a paper towel. And we're going to turn off the lights in the house and see where we get some bacteria action. All right, we're looking around here. Oh, and we do see on the pipette, and we see some iridescence here on the test tube rack on the top here where I touched. And then, of course, my hands are completely slimy. And that's probably pretty much what we expected. Checking the lab coat, don't really see any contamination very far from there and not on the beaker. Okay. So now I'm going to do a quick wash on my hands, still have all that glow germ on my hands, and I'm not using any paper towel barrier here for my faucet or my soap. That's probably what I would normally do. So this is just a real quick, rapid wash of my hands, very gingerly on my broken finger there, and a rinse. And paper towel dry. All right. Now this time through, can you pause for a second? Did you get it to that point? Okay. Now this time through, hands just lightly washed. We're going to kind of repeat the experiment here. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this beaker, and we are going to put some water in our first test tube. I'm going to go ahead and set that down. I'd really like to pick this up and see what might happen. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now we're going to repeat the idea of turning off the lights and seeing where that contamination is going to be found. Okay, turning off the lights here and turning on the black light. So let's see what we might find. I did pick up this beaker. And there's just a few little spots of glow germ on that. On the pipette, again, a few little iridescent spots. And then on the test tube that I picked up, let's look at that one. Definitely do have some contamination around the base of that. And let's take a look at my hands, and particularly around the wrists and the backs of the hands and where my skin is dry. And then, oh yes, so on my surgery finger, that picked up quite a bit on the drier skin that's there, and around between the fingers and around my wrists, we do see a lot of that contamination. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands thoroughly, as thoroughly as I can, and then reapply the solution. So first of all, I'm wetting my hands with my fingers pointing down. Get plenty of soap here and just work the soap on my palms, on the back of my hands, between my fingers. A good 20 seconds of a hand wash is what's recommended. I'm doing my wrist this time, which was an area that really got ignored last time. And then under the fingernails, it's recommended to do kind of like this. I can't do this hand quite so well with that finger there, but we'll try as best we can. Okay. So once the 20 seconds is up, I'm going to rinse my hands again with my fingers pointed down and plenty of running water. I'm going to leave that water running while I get a paper towel. That way, I turn off the water with the paper towel. Get a fresh one here and dry my hands. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and reapply the solution. So we can really give it a fair test. Okay, so it seems to be a pretty even coat over my hands and even to my wrists a little bit. Now we're going to redo the proper hand washing technique. So this time I'm actually going to get a paper towel to turn on my water. And put some soap in my hand. Repeat that entire process all over again. I have a ring on my finger, so I'm working around that, trying to get that clean. Getting between my fingers, the backs of my hands, my wrists, and then under the fingernails. A good rinse. Take a towel, turn off my water, throw that away. Another paper towel here to dry my hands. Okay, now we're ready to do our third experiment. So I'm picking up a new pipette. I'm not going to touch the beaker. I know that's already contaminated from last time, so I will just leave it where it is. Okay, now I can actually manipulate this whole entire tube rack and look at these tubes. I would expect to not see much contamination, hopefully not any on them, but I'll go ahead and give it a fair test here. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and turn off the lights and see what happened. All right, so there was one detail with the last hand washing that I did forget. This brush can be used to clean under the fingernails, which I will do at the very end, but I thought it might be interesting for us to look under my nails and see what might still be there. So here's my hand, and I do see just a very small amount, just one or two fingers there under the nails. The rest of my hand, I don't see traces of the glow substance. I do here, just there where my stitches were. That kind of makes sense. But I will still use the brush under my fingernails at the end. And then we're going to come over here to the good wash station. And looking at the pipette, do not see any contamination there. I do see contamination here on my thumb, underneath my nail right there. Now on the test tube, I do not see anything, nor on this one. So that hand wash was pretty good with the exception of under my nails, which I will take care of right now. So, lesson learned, a good 20-second hand wash, including using a brush under the nails and paying attention to the wrists and in between the digits. That's the best method for cleaning hands. Thank you for watching. One last detail, we forgot to look in our sink to see if there's contamination around the sink. So that's what we're going to do right now. And let's see. Well, the sink does sparkle a little bit because of the material it's made of. I do see just a couple flecks right here in the corner. I see some interesting looking iridescent flecks. So for sure there's some contamination in the further corners of the sink. And since I'm right here at the sink, I'm just going to go ahead and wash under those fingernails. That's it. Thank you.